Hi there! In today's video, I will be learning the Rust programming language with the help of Chat GPT. Well, at least a little bit of it, I hope. I'm actually a PHP coder, so I have no experience with Rust. But recently, I built this WordPress plugin that allows me to encrypt data that is posted from a WordPress website. So if I fill this form here, and then go to the Ninja Forms submissions, I will get here a new submission and the message is encrypted. Now, the way I did the decryption is that I added a custom menu page here in WordPress where I can get the private key file from my computer and I paste in here the text that I want to decrypt and then I click decrypt text. And then I get please subscribe because that is the message that I sent. And you should subscribe as well. But now there's a problem with this. I am sending the private key file to the server. And this is a problem because if the server gets hacked, then the hackers might get access to the private key and then they can decrypt everything that's on the server. Now, I did make this so that it is not actually uploading the private key to the server in the traditional sense. It's reading the private key with client-side JavaScript and then posting the private key to the server. But still, it's not a very good idea. And this is where Rust comes in. With Rust, I can create a standalone program that works offline, and then I can use that to decrypt the text. At least that's the plan. So let's get started. I am new to Rust programming. Can you help me to create an application with Rust? Sure, I'd be glad to help you. Great. First, you'll need to install Rust on your computer. All right. Once you have installed Rust, you can create a new project using the cargo command line tool. All right. And here we get straight to the code. Well, that looks pretty simple actually. Function main, print line, and an exclamation point. That is weird. So I don't really want to go to this URL yet. Can I just install cargo from the command line? Can I install cargo from the command line? Well, actually, I mean terminal. All right, we got a terminal command that we can run, which downloads a shell script from a URL and then runs it. Seems very safe. Let me check out first this rustup.rs. Okay, it seems like this is an official thing. So let's copy this code, which is a bit different. It just sets the protocol and stuff. But let's run this. So if I go here and I run it, I do not have curl because I just recently reinstalled my operating system. So let me install curl. All right, let's try this again. Welcome to Rust. This will download and install the official compiler for the Rust programming language and its package manager cargo. All right, proceed with installation. Rust is installed now. Great. It is great. All right, let's go to the next step. Let's try to see if we have the latest version. It does not seem to work. It said here that you may need to restart your current shell. To configure your current shell, run this command. Let's run this command. And let's try this again. All right, now we have cargo installed. And looks like it's the latest version. So now, let's get to some coding. So here we got already a hello world example. But first we need to create a cargo project. Cargo new my project bin. So let's do that. Cargo new Rust Decryptor is going to be the name of this project, and bin. Great. What is next? Then we have to write some code. So let's see first what this did. Okay, so it created another folder. So let's cd into that one. And here we have a cargo.toml and a source folder. Okay. And we actually have a main.rs here already that has the hello world program. I think that's exactly what Chat GPT told me. Okay, to run the application, you can use the following command, cargo run. So let's run it. Cargo run. Hello world. Well, that wasn't too bad. We got up and running very quickly. But now, I don't want this hello world thing. I want the decryption algorithm. So here's what I think I will do. I will paste into Chat GPT the code that I have written. Well, actually, Chat GPT wrote it before in PHP. And then say, can you turn this into Rust? So let's do that. All right, so here I have this encryption class that I wrote before. And here I have this decrypt function, which I want to recreate in Rust. So what if I just remove all this? I don't want to create the keys or encrypt or anything like this with Rust. I only want to decrypt. So I will remove all of this and I will have only the data and the private key, and then I want to decrypt it. So I will paste this into Chat GPT. Previously created this PHP code. Can you turn this into Rust? Let's see if it can do it. Sure, here is an example. Alright, seems like there are some libraries for this. OpenSSL RSA. Alright, so here we have this code now. It doesn't look too complicated. So we have some use statements up here, and then we have a pub struct encryption. I have no idea what that means. And this looks kind of like a class, but it's an impl, whatever that means. Implementation, something like that. And then public function decrypt. We take a self and data, which is a string, and a private key, which is a string. And I guess this will be the return value, but I have no idea what result vec u8 means, or error stack. And here, let data equal base64 decode data and unwrap. I know what it does. I mean, it base64 decodes, but what is unwrap? I have no idea. And then private key is going to be RSA private key from PEM, private key as bytes. Okay, well, I understand what this does as well, but I'm not quite familiar with the syntax. And then a question mark in the end. Okay, and then private key decrypt data, OpenSSL RSA padding. Okay, let's see. The above code uses OpenSSL and base64 crates, which you'll need to add to your cargo.toml file and as dependencies. You can use the struct encryption and the decrypt function to decrypt data using the private key, just like in the PHP code you provided. Please note that this is a basic example and it doesn't cover all the error cases. It's advisable to add proper error handling and validation in your code. Okay, let's see if we can make this do something. So let's go back to the main.rs. Let's add this code up here. Now we have to use it here somehow. So let's tell it to do that. Can you write the code for the main function that will decrypt data that is in a string encrypted data? Sure, here's an example. Okay, so we initialize the encryption, we add the private key here and the encrypted data here, and then decrypted data will be encryption.decrypt encrypted data private key. Great. And then match. Okay, what? What does this do? Whoa, all right. Okay, now we have the main function here as well. So let's copy this code and paste it here into main. So I guess if we run this, it should work if we put in here the private key and the encrypted data. So, and it said something about these use statements. We have to add them to the file. Cargo.toml. So let's ask it how to do that. How do I add the dependencies to the cargo.toml file? You can add dependencies to a cargo.toml file by adding a dependencies section and listing the crates you need. Okay. You can either do it manually like this, or you can run cargo add. That is cool. After adding the dependencies, you need to run cargo build and cargo run. Okay, so let's try to do this. If I open the terminal here, and then I run cargo add OpenSSL base64. It's doing something, it's fetching something. Alright, that took a couple minutes and now it's done. So now we can say cargo build and cargo run. No, or. Okay, so let's run cargo build. See if our build will succeed or not. This is exciting. Kind of like that time when I made the C++ website. If you didn't see that video, you can check it out here. Alright, I got some warning. A very long warning. Error, failed to run custom build for OpenSSL sys. This does not sound promising, but let me paste this into Chat GPT and see what it says about this. I got the following error when I tried to cargo build it. Okay, I'm missing a system library, OpenSSL. Okay, I think this is because I just reinstalled Ubuntu, so I will have lots of packages to install. Let's do this. And let's try to build it again. Yes, we built it. So I guess if I now list the contents, I don't have anything in here. What is target? cd target. Nope. Where is my executable? So I ran cargo build. Do I need to say cargo run then? But where is the executable? Let's try this. Cargo run. Hello, what? Well, it would be probably beneficial to save the file before running it. So let's try this again. And now we get some errors. Warning, unused import OpenSSL PK private. Warning, use of deprecated function base64 decode. Use engine decode. Okay. This is often a problem with Chat GPT. It suggests some deprecated packages. This function takes 3 arguments. 2 arguments were supplied. Okay. So I think I can solve this first warning by just removing this line here, because we are not doing anything with the private key. So I think Chat GPT has assumed that maybe we are working with the private key as well. So let's do that. And then base64 decode is deprecated. So let's copy this to Chat GPT and let's see what it says. I got this warning. Okay, so here we have an updated code. We're actually using base64 decoder. So we have to do this. Use base64 decoder. And then this is the way we are handling the decoding. So here where we decode it, we have to do it instead like this. We initialize a new decoder, and then the encrypted data, which is just called data, will be passed into the decode method. And then, do I need to unwrap this or no? Let's ask ChatGPT. Would this be the correct implementation of the class? I don't know if it's a class or what is it. No, it wouldn't be correct. Okay, so we have some wrong data types here. Okay, what did it do? In my code, it does the exact same thing, but it added this question mark here in the end. Okay, so let's try if this works. Let's paste it in here. And then let's run cargo run again. And we got errors. Unresolved import base64 decoder. Now I got this error. Alright, so ChatGPT told me to add this use statement in the code, but I think this is already in there. Yes, it's there already. So I think this is not the right approach. Now let's go back to the code that almost worked. So here, so I will remove this statement from here because it's unused. And then let's see again what the error was. So we got a warning, use of deprecated function base64 decode. Use engine decode. So can we ask ChatGPT to use engine decode? Can you change the code to use engine decode instead of base64 decode? Sure, here's an example. Okay, now I don't really get what happened here because it's still using the base64 decode. Let's see what is the difference. It renamed the data variable and then it removed the unwrap and added a question mark. Let's see what cargo run makes of this. We still get the same use of deprecated function, and now we get this couldn't convert the error to error stack. So let's once again go back one step and run this again. Warning, deprecated function. Okay, we don't get an error now when we use the unwrap instead of the question mark. So perhaps deprecated is just a warning, so maybe we can still use base64 decode. But let's see this. This function takes 3 arguments, but 2 arguments were supplied. So this function, I get the error from the private decrypt function. The error message is indicating that the method is expecting 3 arguments, but it's being passed only 2. Well, obviously. The private decrypt method expects 3 arguments: data to decrypt, padding algorithm to use, and an output buffer to store the decrypted data. Okay, so now it changed the code. But why didn't you do it right the first time? So let's copy this code and see what happens. So it added let mat decrypted data vec what? Some weird Rust code. And then it added this as the middle argument. So let's see what happens now if we run cargo run. Okay, now we get again the trait from base 64 decode error is not implemented for error stack because it added back this question mark. So let me put back the unwrap. So maybe that will work. And let's run it again. Okay, we got just one warning, just a warning of the deprecated function. But then we got a panic from result unwrap. Now, I think this might be because I didn't put the private key here actually. So let's put the data in there, try it for real. All right, now I have pasted in the private key and the encrypted data. So let's see what will happen now. We still got an error. Thread main panicked at called result unwrap on an error value 8. Okay, wait a minute, but it changed the code. Let's go back. It was just like this. So let me go back. What is the difference here? No, the only difference is the variable name, so that shouldn't do anything. But I guess we are getting an error here. Unwrap. Invalid byte. Okay. Let me see. Did I do something wrong here? Well, there seems to be a new line here. Maybe that's a problem. Let's remove the new lines from the end of these. And let's run it again. We got a different error now. Error stack error code 50384. What? Unsupported. No supported data to decode. Input type PEM. Okay, let's paste this into Chat GPT. I got this error while running the code. Alright, it seems that the key is in the wrong format. Here's an example of a private key in PEM format. And then it will create a private key. I wonder what this private key is for. Okay, it stopped. It gave up on writing this. So mine just says begin private key. Alright, so my private key is in a different format than PEM or PKCS1. So I need to convert it. Can I instead use another method that would be able to read from a PKCS number 8? Yes, you can use the PK private key from PEM. This method can parse both PKCS1 and PKCS8 private keys. Okay, isn't that what we used already? Okay, so instead of RSA private key from PEM, we will use PKey private key from PEM. But now, do we have that? Maybe we have to use it like this. Let's see if this works. We got an error. No P key in RSA. Okay. How do I import P key? Aha! OpenSSL P key. Alright, so let's do that. So it's not RSA, it's P key. And then let's run this. Hey! We still got the same error. Is this because I have the tabs here? Maybe that's the problem. Let's try this again. Ha! Please subscribe. We did it. So I can't have tabs in the file. Great. So please do subscribe if you like this video. Now next I would like to do it so that this would read the private key from a file instead of having to paste it in here in the code. So let's do that. How could I read the contents of a file into key file as the private key data? And we got an error. Let's refresh the page. You can use the standard file system module to read the contents of a file into a string. Great. All right, we got some code. So we have to import these, file system and IO. So let's put them here. And I guess because they are from the standard, we don't have to add them to the dependencies. And then let's copy this and paste it in here. So here we have the private key. So that should be a string that is read from the file. So I think this will do exactly that. So this creates the file. This reads from the file. It's like a file handle. And then this just creates a new string, initializes a string. And then this reads the file into a string, into this variable. So now if I put here the path to that private key file, then this should still work. Let's see. It does not work. The question mark operator can only be used in a function that returns result or option. Okay, let's remove it. Still, 68, sorry, 21 here as well. So let's remove this as well. Okay, maybe here we need the question mark, but up there we don't. Okay, let's ask Chat GPT. I cannot solve this by guessing. I get this error. Okay, the question mark operator is used to propagate the error. To handle the error, you can use a match statement or if-let statement, or you can use the try macro. So let's do this instead. Paste this here and take the correct path. So now we have some error handling here as well. So let's see if this one works. It did not work. I did something wrong now. This one should be removed. Oh, sorry. I still have to have the encrypted data, so I will just paste it here for now. And remove the white space from here. Mismatched types. Expected parentheses found enum result. Let's see the other method ChatGPT told me to do. This one. If-let. What is the if-let? I cannot see any if-lets in here. Let's see what this one does. Okay, that does not work. Now I get this error. The error message you're seeing is caused by the fact that the function is returning. Okay, you're just saying what it says. Instead, you can wrap the error with a standard input-output error and return it as the result of the function. Okay, now we created a separate function for reading the private key. So let's create this. Let's go up here and paste it here. And then I have to change to use this read private key. So here I will say private key equals read private key. And this was the path, I think. Yes. So let's try this one. Still an error. Unused import read. Aha. Now we have to use the P key private. So let's do that. Wait a minute. Is it this way? Private. I already have the read. Okay, so I have to do it like this. All right, now when I get the private key in the decrypted data, it is a result, not a string. So this returns a result. So how do I turn that into a string? Now I get the following error because the function returns a result instead of a string of the private key. You are correct. The function returns a result P key private error. You can use the unwrap method to get the private key PEM string from the result object. Okay, unwrap. Now we are using this unwrap. Okay, so it returns this OK object or something like that, and inside it has the private key. And then I guess I have to unwrap the OK, the result object, so then it will be the string. So let's add here unwrap and run it a millionth time. And we got some errors. Expected string found struct P key. So now the problem is that the P key passed into this OK is not a string. Now I get this error. Okay, you should pass the private key PEM string as the argument. Yes, I understand. You can use the PEM method from the P key struct to get the private key PEM string. Okay, so I have to do this. Private key to PEM. Alright, let's add one more line here. And I hope somebody is still watching this video after all this debugging. So this one goes here. Private key PEM, it's going to be private key to PEM unwrap. And then I have to use the private key PEM here. And let's run it. And we get another error. Okay, no method named private key to PEM found. There's a method with a similar name. I think this is what Chat GPT meant. So let's use that one. And now it's a vector, not a string. What? Well, it has this ampersand there. Does this have something to do with it? Private key PEM. No, it's still a vec. Let's see. Now it's a vec, not a string. You are correct. You can convert the vec UA to a string using the standard string from UTF. Okay, here we finally, hopefully, have a working code. So let's copy this one and add it here and change this to private key PEM string, and then let's run it. We did it. It works. We get some of these warnings here, but never mind the warnings. They're just warnings. They're not errors. So yes, it works now. So what is next? Next, we have to create a graphical user interface for this, because I don't want to use this from the command line. I want to start the program and then have a file input and an input for the encrypted data, and then a button decrypt data, and then that should decrypt the data. So let's figure out how to do that. Now let's first check these warnings again. Okay, this variable doesn't have to be mutable, private key. So let's remove the mutable there. And now we get only one error, one warning. Next, I want to create a GUI for this application. I want to have a file input for the private key file, a text input for the decrypted text, and a button for decrypting the text. How can I do that? Let's see if it can do this. Creating a GUI for your Rust application can be done using different libraries. One of the most popular libraries for creating a GUI in Rust is GTK. Okay. It is based on the GTK Plus toolkit, which is written in C, but provides a Rust-friendly API. Okay. Function build GUI. That sounds good. I hope it's this simple. Alright, I think we did not get the whole code, but we got something. So let's just try this continue. Many of you have commented that just say continue and then it will continue the code. But in my experience, it doesn't always work. Let's see if it works this time. Sometimes it just, like this time, it thinks that it already wrote the whole code. So then it goes to the next part, what you should do next, but it didn't finish the code. Okay, so now it is adding now a connect clicked method that will add an event handler to the decrypt button. All right. Okay, so actually we did get some continued code here. We got this connect clicked method, but I think this is not finished yet. So let's copy this code first and paste it in here. And then let's add the other function. So this one, and add it here. And we have to finish this. But it didn't finish this part. So let me ask, can you finish the window connect delete event part? Sure. In the window connect delete event closure, you can add the code that will be executed when the user closes the window. Okay. So, well, it's just this. So let's finish that function. Okay, once you've set up the GUI and added event handlers, you can start the GTK main loop by calling GTK main. Okay, so I have to add this here. And I guess I have to run this in the main. So let's delete everything from the main, or just comment it out and paste this here. And then see all the errors that happened when I run this. Okay, we got lots of errors, and one of them is again this PEM function. It's wrong. So let me copy it from here. And let's run this again. Can't find great GTK. So I have to say cargo add GTK, and let's run this again. Then it's gonna download and compile all these grades. Okay, we got an error or a warning. Failed to run custom build command for Go G-object sys. I get this error. Right, I'm missing some pkg config tool. Okay, let's do that. Could not find package. Right, let's try this one, librust g-object sysdev. And now let's run it. All right, we are going forward, and then we get a warning. gdk pixbuff sys. Now I get this error. All right, more packages to install. And let's run it. Cairo sys rs. So let's install Cairo as well and run it. And then we need something else. gdk sys. I guess it could tell me to install all of the things that I need. Copy this and run it. I did not find that. Probably this package will be the correct one. And let's try to run it one more time. And now we got some errors, but I think we compiled everything successfully, all the dependencies, but then we get an error. So on line 48, we are calling encryption, but we don't have the encryption, so we have to initialize it first. Let's copy this from the old code and run it again. No function or associated item named new with label found for struct gtk button. Now I get this error. Okay, this method is deprecated and is replaced with the with label. So let's change it to with label. And then we don't have a get file name. This method is deprecated and is replaced by the get URI method. But get URI is not defined either. File chooser button. That is not found either. Okay, I forgot to paste in which method was not found. I apologize for the confusion. My previous response was not accurate. You don't use it on the file chooser button, you use it on the file chooser, but then it still uses the button. Okay, so what is the problem with this now? Now it tells me to go back to the get file name method, but that did not exist. But it said that it's in the file chooser trait. So let's look at this code. What is it doing? File input, get file name. Where is file input? It's here. File chooser button. Let me ask Chat GPT. Can you tell me the documentation of file chooser button? Too many requests in 1 hour. Try again later. Uh-oh, that's a new one. They're starting to limit Chat GPT. Let's try this again. Oh no, this is a new thing. I haven't gotten this ever before. Too many requests in 1 hour. Try again later. Okay, so while we are waiting for Chat GPT, let me Google this file chooser button. What is the documentation of this? Implements file chooser ext, not file chooser. So is it going to be here? Current name, file name. It's only file name, it's not get file name. So what if I go here and I say just file name? And then let's run it again. What did we get now? Now we skipped that error, so that works. Okay. So then GTK entry does not have get text. So let's see, what is this text input? Entry. So let's check the docs again. Rust entry get text. Well, I could guess that it's going to be just text. 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 Okay, I think it is just text. So let's go to text input again and just say text. And let's go to the next error. Hopefully that solved it. Unwrap not found for struct GString line 48. So perhaps we don't need to unwrap it. And let's run it again. Okay, now we get a GString, but now we don't want a GString, we want just a regular string. So how do we convert this into GString? Here we use this from UTF-8. So what if we do the same thing here? If we say encrypted data string is going to be from UTF-8 encrypted data. Let's see if this works. I'm very doubtful, but let's see. Expected U8, but got GString. So let's say GString to string. I think I should go to the Rust documentation. Format, it returns GString. Okay, I think this is the one we're looking for. As string returns the GString as string slice. So instead of this, I will use encrypted data string will be encrypted data dot as str. Let's see if this works. Sorry, I have to use the encrypted data string. Yes, it worked. It went to the next error. So next error is going to be on line 53. Set text decrypted data. Expected string found struct vector. So how did I turn the vector into a string? Didn't I do this before here? Yes, now I have to use the from UTF-8. So I will copy this code and I will put it here. So here I have to take the decrypted data and convert it into a string. And then I will set the text of the text input into the string of the decrypted data. And then if I go back and I run it, now it's building something. So we are doing something. Hey, look at this. We have a decryption tool. It actually works. Look at that. So I can select the file, private key, and I can put something here. Let's get the submission from here and let's paste this in here and remove the new line and decrypt. And we crashed. What happened now? Okay, panicked at const cchar unexpected empty character, null error. Okay, but we actually got a GUI to appear and we could select the file and everything. That's great. But now how do we solve this issue? Warning, unused variable e. If this is intentional, prefix it with an underscore. Yeah, this is intentional. Of course, this is intentional. What are you talking about? Underscore. But then what happened here? How can I track this? Run with Rust backtrace equals 1 environment variable to display a backtrace. So how do we do that? Export Rust backtrace is 1 and then run it. And then we select private key and paste this in here, decrypt. Okay, now we got a backtrace. So let's figure out what happened. So where is the problem? Build GUI 62. Okay, that's the main. Okay, and this is build GUI. Okay, that did not help anything. GTK auto functions main. GTK main. Click trampoline. Build GUI. Oh, here. Okay, here something happens. Set text. This does not work. Let me just say, what if I just set the text to something? Or does this have to be a G string? Let's say hello and then run it again. And now we again select the private key, paste this here and decrypt. It says hello. Okay, so we are very close actually now. So it is not a string yet. Let's see how we did it before. String. Now this is passing it in the print line. What if I do that? If I pass it into the print line and then I run this, will I get it here in the console, the terminal? So let's go to downloads, private key, paste this here. Oops, I don't have it anymore. Copy this, paste it here, decrypt. Did we get print line here? Yes. So what is the difference between passing it into the print line and passing it into set text? What if I pass it to the print line directly? I cannot do that. Must be a string literal. Format, okay. So what is this then? What does the ampersand do? What if I do this? Still needs to be a string literal. So how do I print some debugging information? Like in PHP I can do print r and then decrypted data string. How do I do it here? Dump variable Rust hash debug formatter. Okay, so this is how I do it. So I have to put it here like this, and then if I pass the data into this print line with this weird thing, then it will print some debugging information about that, hopefully. And we have to select private key and paste in this decrypt, and let's see what happened. Please subscribe with lots of null bytes in the end. Okay. Oh, and that's what it says here. Okay, it said something about a null byte. Unexpected empty string. Unexpected. Whoa. Why are there null bytes here? Ah, because of the padding. Because when it decrypts, it adds the padding in there. Where is that padding? Decrypted data. Do I have to have padding? Can I have just 0 as padding? I cannot. So how do I trim those null bytes? How to trim null bytes in Rust from a string? You can trim custom patterns from a string using trim matches. Okay. So Stack Overflow is still a good option for creating code in a language you don't know. So let's go back here and say trimmed is going to be this. So now we get the string which has the null bytes, and then we trim the null bytes from this. Can I do mut? Then it's mutable. Then I can use the same thing here. Let's see. So I take the private key and I take the encrypted text and I paste it here and decrypt. Yes, it works. It actually works. This is done now. It's finished. It works. It actually works. So now we can take some encrypted data from the form and we can decrypt it on our local machine without using any internet, without posting any stuff on the server. So now we are safe from hackers. This is amazing. Let's try another one. So let's go to Ninja Forms and send some message here. Submit. And then go to the submissions and refresh this page and take this one and go to the decryption tool and paste it here and decrypt. Yes, it works. This is amazing. So now I actually did it. Now I want to make an executable from this now, because now it's just, I have to say cargo run. So how do I make it an executable? If I say cargo build, I get the warnings, okay, but then where is it? How do I make it into a file, an executable? How do I make an executable from Rust code? Cargo build release. Okay. Cargo build release. Let's release our program to the wild. This is amazing. All right. That took quite a while. I think almost 5 minutes. But now I guess I will have a file somewhere, an executable. Release. Rust decryptor. Okay, so let's change the target and release. And here we have Rust decryptor. So if I just run Rust decryptor, it opens this decryption tool here, and then I just select my private key and I go here to the submissions and I copy this and paste it here and decrypt. Now it crashes if I have the new line in the end. So if I remove the new line, then I guess it will work. Yes, Rust is wonderful. And Rust is wonderful. Well, I'm not sure if I can say it's wonderful, but it did what I needed it to do. So that's pretty cool. My very first Rust program with a graphical user interface. I am very excited about this. That is cool. Now, if you think this is cool, then please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss it when I post another video like this in the future. And please let me know in the comments, what do you think of this video? And what other languages should I learn? Or what should I do with Rust or with C++ or whatever language or with Chat GPT? Let me know in the comments and I will do as you wish. But now, let me fix some of the bugs here, like that new line character. So if I do it this way, that I have this new line character in the end, and I try to decrypt, then it crashes. So I should handle the errors at line 79. So here where I base decode the data. So the data will be a string, but there will be some extra stuff. So I think I can use the same thing, trim matches. So let me copy this one over, and I will say let mat decoded data equal, but this is not a mat. Can I mat this? No, it won't change this. Okay, so I can do this. But now it's not null byte, it's a new line. What does the from do? Trim matches. Can I just do like new line? And then I will change this to be just decoded data equals decoded data. Well, that doesn't make sense. I should call it something else. Trimmed data and trimmed data. So let's check the docs. Rust trim matches documentation. String from. Trim matches. What is just trim? White space removed. Okay, I will do just that. So I will just trim it. That's good. Trimmed data will be data trim. Okay. And then instead of unwrap, I should handle the error. Because I think unwrap just discards the error or something like that. But let's see first if this will work. So let's run again, cargo run. Okay, so now we select the key file and we paste in the encrypted text with the new line and decrypt. Yes, now it works with that too. Now we should handle the errors, because I guess if I now click decrypt, it's gonna try to decrypt this and it crashes. So how do we handle that? So we can use this match to do it. So let's copy this syntax and go to the decode. So here. So we will do it this way. Let decoded data equal match base64 decode trimmed data. On OK, we just return the value of this. And on error, we panic. But we don't want to panic. No panic. We just want to change the text. So I will just return unable to decrypt and remove this. So now decoded data is going to be a string decoded data. So private decrypt takes a string and this returns a string. Can it be a string literal, or should I say string from? Let's just try it this way and run it. We got an error. Into. Okay, so let's do that. How did that work? String from UTF-8. String new. I think it's just from, or from UTF-8. Maybe that's string from UTF-8. And let's try it. Expected vec found enum result. So how do I solve this issue? Do we need to unwrap it or something? What if I just return the E, whatever it is? Maybe it's an error object or something. Yeah, no. Expected struct vec. What is a vec? What is a vec in Rust? Vector is a module in Rust that provides the container space to store values. It is a contiguous, resizable array type with heap allocated contents. But it should be a string. Private decrypt. What does private decrypt? Wait a minute. Decoded data. So what is decoded data? If I check private decrypt, open SSL private decrypt Rust. Private decrypt. It takes a U8 slice. How do I convert a string into a slice, a vec? Or maybe that's not what this does. What if I just say hello here? Is that gonna work? So then I know if this can take just a string. No, it's a U8. So let's see if Chat GPT allows me to ask questions again. I want to return a string unable to decrypt if there was an error in the decoding of the text. This is what I'm doing, but it's not working. What should I do? Okay, to string. Unwrap or else. That sounds cool. So let's try first if this one will work. So I have to return. Oh, so this underscore means that we're not going to use it, so don't worry about it. And then toString, I guess, turns the string literal into the U8. Let's see if this works. It does not work. I need the string to be U8, whatever that means. As bytes to vec. Okay. And then let's run it. And we get some error. I don't do the return anymore because that returns a result. I think it's working now. Yes, it opened. So now if I take the private key and I do something here, it doesn't do anything. Well, that's not really a problem, but I didn't want to do that. But I can still decrypt. Let's try this other method. And let's close this up and run this again. And select the key file, put some text here. No, nothing happens. Ah, okay. So nothing happens because it's trying to decrypt, but it cannot decrypt. So it doesn't get an error from this decode. But when it's trying to decrypt it, then it just, I guess, it returns just the original string or something else. So in fact, I think this version already worked. So can we do this? Match this one, and if there's an error, then return unable to decrypt. Otherwise, return the value. But now it is changing this. Can I just do like this? Can I say that decrypted data is this unable to decrypt? And then if this doesn't work, it's not going to change it. But I'm not sure if that's going to work. Nope, I get an error now. So the problem is this doesn't return anything. It returns, I guess, an empty vector then. So where do I use the decrypt? Let me remove these comments. Here, decrypt. Here I decrypt. Okay, here's the problem. It is catching the error here because, okay, I'm starting to learn Rust now. So because I have this question mark here, it will pass the error from this into the result of this method. And then here we are handling the error, but we are not actually doing anything. So here I have to say that text input now will be unable to decrypt. And this doesn't really have to be this. I don't know what I should return here. What if I just return an empty string? And then I will run it. And then if I take the private key and I do something, unable to decrypt. Great. But then if I take the actual message here, yes, now it works. That's great. So what if I don't take the private key? If I just click decrypt, it's gonna crash. So let's fix this. So now it's getting an error at 41. So here I have to say again, match this, and if it's okay, then return the value. If it's an error, how did you do it? ERR underscore. Then what do we do then? We just set the text unable to decrypt, and it has like a closure or something like this. But how do I check? I don't want to continue because I think now it's just going to set the text to unable to decrypt or say, please select file, key file. But I think it's going to still continue. Can I return? If I return here, is it going to return from this function? Cargo run? No. So let's just do this. And I still get an error. toString. Okay. Now how do I say, what is the value? Can I just do something like this? If, how to do an if? If private, if not private key path, then return. This is a very Pythonic way to do it. I cannot do that. Cannot apply unary operator. Let's ask Chat GPT. All right, after a long time of debugging and talking to Chat GPT, I finally got it to work now with no errors. So here is the final version that Chat GPT made. Now I don't like this for the reason that there is so much indentation here, but it added this match here to the file input, getting the file name of the file input. So if it returns something, then it will do all this other stuff. It will read the private key and it will decrypt it and it will do all this stuff. And here it handles the error. If it couldn't decrypt it, then it says unable to decrypt. And then here, if the file input returns none, then it just says please select key file. Now I tried to do it so that it would check up here first. If it returns none, then don't do anything and then do the rest, so I don't have to have so much indentation. But I couldn't make it to work. But now it works. So now, if I click decrypt without selecting any private key and without putting any text in it, and I click here, it says please select key file. And if I click it again, it still says please select key file. If I put something here and I click, it says please select key file. So then if I go and I select a key file and I click decrypt, it says unable to decrypt. If I put some text here, decrypt, unable to decrypt. But if I go here and I copy some actual encrypted text, and even if I have this new line in the end and I decrypt, it says Rust is wonderful. So now it works. And I didn't try it. If I put some wrong file here, what will happen? Then it will crash. But now I've had enough of coding with Chat GPT and Rust. So here's the whole code. Here we have just all these use statements, and here is the build GUI function that creates the window, creates the file input, text input, and the decrypt button, and then does something to them. I have no idea what this does. And creates the window, shows the window, adds the event for closing the window, and then the event for clicking the decrypt button, which will get the file, and then if it gets the file, it will read the file, and then it will decrypt with the file and handle the errors if there are some errors. And then we have the function for reading the private key from a file, and we have the encryption class or struct or whatever you call it, which is actually a decryption class, which just decrypts the data. So that's it, just 100 lines of code, and we can build this beautiful application. Let's run it one more time. It's so beautiful. And we do get this deprecated error here still, or warning, but never mind. So here we have this tool. And we select one more time a private key, and we paste in some encrypted text and decrypt, and it works. So this is the end of this video, and I hope you liked it. And let me know in the comments what you think. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. And subscribe to this channel, because if you're watching all the way through this video, then I think you like these videos. So subscribe so you get more of these.